Hello, beloveds. Hello, hello, hello. Today is my favorite word. I think my favorite word in the whole of the world, gratitude. Grateful, grateful living, thanksgiving, thanks living, thanks being thanks, giving thanks. I've had so much of this in my heart since I was my youngest memory, since I was a little girl. And I've done my very best to express gratitude, to give gratitude, to speak words of thanks. And I still fall asleep innocently to just how powerful it can be. So I just did a conference a month or so ago out at Unity Village, and there were so many people involved: keynote speakers, power talks, workshops, seminars, people leading nature walks, yoga. And I wrote them love notes and thanked them. And I called some of them and left my thanks and appreciation on their voicemails. And they've told me over and over and over again how much that meant to them, and how much just hearing my voice say thanks to them uplifted them and inspired them. So little doses of gratitude can go a very long way in caring for our souls and the souls of many. And I think about that in particularly in relationship to our ministry here, that ministry is for ministering, and how grateful I am to be a part of this community here, our spiritual living center, and how what a mighty group of people can do, what mighty works a small group of people can do. And Margaret Mead, I think, said it, that all the change in the world has come about because of a commitment and the convictions of a small group of people. So one of the ministers said in this little message I left her, now this is ministering to ministers, which I believe you are if you're hearing this message, that we're all ministers, and that ministers are for ministering, and that ministry is for ministering. She said, Martha, what a beautiful, sustaining message. Thank you so much for showing up always as you. You're a love, a joy, and an absolute and completely authentic. And thank you for taking a moment to tell me this. You'll never know just what this means to me. We have a song that we sing in our Black churches, and it's called Bring Me My Flowers, quote, which means don't wait until my funeral to say wonderful things about me. Say these things while I can hear them. So thank you for bringing me flowers. I love you dearly. That took just a minute for me to put a voicemail out to her, a little voice message, a little voice recording. One. So that was one of a string of those. So bring me the flowers. Let's give the flowers now while everybody's alive. And Mama said that. My mother had a terminal pancreatic cancer, which has been 6 years ago, just over 6 years ago now. And when she got the diagnosis, they said that she would make it 3 to 6 months, and that it was inoperable. And there was other factors and circumstances too. And she said, you can tell anybody wants to send me flowers to go ahead and send them to me now. Don't wait till I die to send flowers. I want them while I'm alive. So my mother had a similar expression and a similar philosophy about let's get our flowers while we're alive. And I want to give the flowers while we're all alive too. So think about something you're grateful for, a way that you have. I know most of you already express gratitude. You live with a grateful heart. I know that about you. It's also, then this is the time of year, I think, to dial it up. Our year end, to look at where we're getting spiritually fed, where we're spiritually cared for, who's praying for us and with us, in this case, our community here, and to find a way to give back into that community, into the people, into the leaders, into the organization that provides this. And science tells us that this is vital for our well being, that we absolutely have got to do something about this. And I was reading a story about a woman who said that her husband had died of cancer, and her father had died near the same time with Parkinson's. Her mother was diagnosed with cancer, and she moved across the country from Seattle to Connecticut after selling her own home that she had lived in for 26 years. So she was in a state of devastation. And she noticed that she felt better when she looked for any good part of the day. So she took a little mason jar and turned it into a gratitude jar, which she kept on her nightstand. So every night she wrote down a few things that she was grateful for on a scrap of paper and just dropped it down in there. And it was simple things like I met a new neighbor. I took a walk with the dog. I took a walk with my mom. She was able to walk today. The grief is still there. Always the grief is there. And just writing these daily little reflections or speaking these daily reflections helps everything, our mental, emotional, physical well-beings. And this has been studied, landmark studies, psychologist studies, scientific studies have been going on for decades now about the power of gratitude and the absolute essential nature of gratitude, that it improves every bit of our well-being. And what we know in unity to count our blessings, to keep a grateful outlook on something, as well as expressing gratitude to others, which is what I was talking about at the beginning, has such positive effects, not on us, not just on me, the giver, me, the benefactor, but in the beneficiary, in those that we're expressing gratitude for, that their positive health, their well-being is uplifted. All matters of well-being. So gratitude heals us, energizes us. It changes my life. It changes my day. It changes other people's lives and how they're going to go about the day. So, we sing for decades in unity, let there be peace on earth. It's like, let me be the change I want to see. So it is the prism then, this gratitude is the prism through which we view life in terms of our gifts. What am I giving and how can I dial up my giving? And that dialing up my giving dials up my luminosity. Dialing up my giving dials up my radiance. Dialing up my giving dials up my blessings, my manifestations, the gift and the giver, the gifts and the gifts, the gifts and the gifters, goodness and grace. So gratitude is considered a positive emotion when we simply acknowledge that we have goodness in our life and that other people, there's goodness in other people too, and that other people help us achieve this goodness. People praying for me. We've got numerous, almost every week, sometimes 4 or 5 times a week, we get a message back from our prayer team, our prayer request that have put out a prayer call that they received a miracle, that their healing was imminent, and that it was miracle making, that it was unbelievable, that they got out of the hospital sooner than ever, that the diagnosis they thought they had, they didn't have. So at least partially outside of ourselves to continue to give in whatever way stretches us. So it's easy to feel gratitude when somebody's been kind to us, but feeling is only part of this equation. It is equally important to reap the benefits of the emotion. So how can this benefit us? So we've asked people in these studies, as I was looking about this, we asked participants to write letters of thanks or to list positive things in their life, and then measured the effects of doing that. So I can't tell you the countless nights that I sit here with a stack of cards and a pen, and I write thanks, love notes, and thanks of gratitude, blessing you, sending you uplift, ways that people have blessed me, ways that they've supported me. I know they may be having a surgery, a challenge, a loss of some sort, and I want them to know they're not alone in this. Find little cards that say, nothing could ever dim your light is so bright. All of that, it makes me better. I have more well-being because I sit and write those little notes. It also, I think I've said this before, my mail woman, who I love, she's so generous. and her name is Kim. And when there's a package or something, she stops that truck, walks through the grass, comes up to the door, and puts that package here at the door because it won't fit in the box. And she's so great to hold the mail without me going through the formalities of it and things like that too. And she's like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen somebody write so many cards as you do. They're beautiful. They're often in colorful envelopes and things like that too. So she talks about how it made her day to know that somebody is putting that kind of vibration, she called it, that kind of vibration, that kind of energy out into the world. So all the scientific results of this show us that it provides mental health benefits, reduces stress, depression, anxieties. We increase our daily satisfaction of living, and that even like gratitude interventions are more effective than other kinds of activities. Even things that have been our spiritual practices, maybe. So over and over, the studies have shown that expressing gratitude to acquaintances, co-workers, neighbors, friends, partners, ministers, for God's sakes, ministers often say, oh, it's a thankless job. Anything to boost, help bind us more closely to our own soul, our own spirit, our own goodness, our own godness, and absolutely inspires and uplifts others to be and express their truer natures here in the world too. And not to mention things like just sleeping better or having more calm. So not only does gratitude improve the well-being of the giver and the gifted, the recipient, the giver and the recipient, it is also good for those who witness it, like the male woman, like these other ministers that said, oh my God, so-and-so told me that she got a message from you and she saves it so she can listen to it when she's feeling down. That gave me an idea about how to thank somebody. So watching an act of gratitude between two people can cause the observer to feel more kindness, more compassion, more warmth, more affinity, raise their vibration, raise their radiance, raise their luminosity. So everybody, so quantum theory is true. We get to see the effects of it. And then it also lowers blood pressure. And it's a gift that just keeps on giving. So there's no way to run out of it. So 1 moment a day is enough. According to these studies, that the studies on gratitude do not indicate how often we have to express gratitude or how best to put it in practice. However, the experts believe that a small dose of gratitude once a day makes an exponential difference. 1 time a day, y'all. 1 time a day. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do this Thanksgiving season, these holy day seasons, this high holiday season, this end of the year, where our hearts are sometimes heavier from the losses and the grief, and sometimes fuller as we reflect on how we're supported and what's been given to us, what's been provided to us throughout our lives. And then to develop a practice in this. So can we do it for a day for a month now, till the end of the year maybe? A gratitude habit, like as an ingrained routine. So first thing in the morning, when I open my eyes, like I check in with my parts, I check in with my heart, and I'm going to check in with how I send gratitude, including gratitude for myself. And before I go to bed at night. Or one woman said, I do it when I sit down at my computer. I've got my little list there, things I'm grateful for. And I remember doing this in a church I was leading many years ago, and we took a similar challenge like this to be and express more gratitude. Even those of us that are really practiced in expressing gratitude, how we could dial it up and increase it. And this one particular woman was that practice back then was to write 3 things a day that I'm grateful for on a list, and I asked them to bring them to me, to show them to me on Sundays when they would come into church. And they were proud of them. And part of the standard I said on it, the condition was don't repeat anything. 3 new things a day for this month. And this woman got so into this. She was one of our elders, and she came in with her list, and it included one Sunday when she showed it to me, it included having a mop and a broom. So we don't have to look that far. As privileged as we are, and as overprivileged as we are, we won't have to look far at starting our list. This also avoids spiraling into these dark holes that are very alluring during these dark times of the year and these darker days of the year and all that, through the holidays and reflections on losses and deaths and things like that that can really get a hold of us. So this is also some balancing of that, hopefully, that the grief is there, the losses are still there. And this practice can help us in some way to avoid spiraling any further into that. To be thankful for what you can. Be thankful for just what you can. Be thankful, including for what I can do, not as focused on what I can't do. And to not let myself slip off into there wishing and wanting for something to be the way it used to be. But so it's shifting out of this, what I've lost, what I can't do, into what can I do? What can I do about this situation? What could I do with the means that I have? It also allows us to look at what we do have and feel absolutely more abundant in it. Regardless of what we have, we can look at what we have with gratitude, a framework of gratitude, and feel more abundant for what we do have. So think about writing a letter to express gratitude. Anything, a quick email, a text, a little voicemail message, a gratitude jar, a mason jar, a gratitude journal, a call. Back years and years ago, 20 some years ago, part of my work, and that was my work as a senior minister then, was to call 3 people a day, just check in with them, see how they're doing, pray with them. So be as specific as you can. One of my friends told me once, like, quit telling me I'm amazing, Martha, if you're not going to tell me how I'm amazing. It's useless. It's a useless word. So, hi, thank you for being amazing. She said, tell me what I did that was amazing to you. So be as specific as you can. So when I left these messages last night and the days before these, when I was writing the cards, I thanked them specifically for the work they did in the prayer vigil, for the prayers that they answer, the prayer request, for responding to the emails, for the donations, the sponsorships, the committed, consistent giving, the uplift to the ministry. So which statement had you rather hear? If somebody, for example, imagine that whoever you live with cleaned up the kitchen after dinner, would you rather hear somebody say thank you? Or I'm grateful that even though you were tired and had a stressful day too, you handled all the kitchen duties today. That you stepped in to take all the kitchen duty today. I love how we take turns. And I love how you knew that I needed a break. So this specificity matters because it deepens our experience of gratitude. It intensifies our grateful emotions and our thoughts. So start wherever you can. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for your contributions, your donations, your prayers, your uplift. I'm grateful for your attendance at our gatherings every quarter. I look forward to seeing you next summer again for our next one. I love how that you got up and danced. I'm grateful that you stay young. I'm grateful you don't let the old men come into your way of being and the old women come into your ways of being. So love to you, all blessings from my heart to you. And any way I could ever support you, get me word. I am grateful. And for you, God bless you.